Look at that.
Hi.
The voice. I missed the old TTS voice, man. It was so much better. MasterChef? We're not gonna start a MasterChef run today. World Cup in a world where women dominate men. Here we go. Sounds aggressive enough.
Hi.
What else can we watch? World where fat is the new standard of beauty. What are these titles, dude? Are these actually movies? I wonder. Nobody watched them. 70 million dead people come back to life. They all parents kill their own children. Okay. Boy sees the speed in slow motion. Damn. Gonna do some Mabuba things for sure. Which one should we do, chat? Which one should we do? Anything that catches the eye? 2030, people are not... it's an old movie. Old movies are kind of... 100 liters? 100 liters water per day due to a pandemic? Jesus. That sounds like fun. We can watch this. Alright, well, let's watch these two.
Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain a 2018 rom-com film called I'm Not an Easy Man.
No, I'm skipping.
Spoilers ahead.
You know why I'm skipping, guys?
Watch
Because
out.
it's a rom-com.
Hi.
I'm not gonna watch someone explain a rom-com to me. That sounds like a waste of time. Man moves 10 times slower than ordinary people. Oh, this movie is Pog. Man, I haven't seen this movie since I was a kid. Yeah, let's watch this one. Let's watch this one.
Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I am going to explain an American comedy fantasy film called Click. Spoilers ahead.
I remember this
Watch
one.
out and take
A little
care.
bit only.
The movie starts as we see the main protagonist, Michael Newman, who is an architect by profession. He lives with his family of 4, which includes his wife, Donna, and their 2 children, Ben and Samantha. Michael's heavy-handed boss, John Ammer, makes him work more than necessary, and as a result, Michael often ends up ignoring his family. Despite all this, Michael finds a lot of joy out of the little time he gets to spend with his children, like when he watches Dragon Tales with them before leaving for work. One day at work, John offers Michael a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to design a luxury hotel for a Japanese conglomerate. He also promises Michael he will make him partner if he is able to seal the contract. Michael is elated by the proposition, but realizes that he has to go camping with his family. Later, he also misses Ben's swimming race. When Michael reaches the pool, he is greeted by Ben's swimming teacher, Bill, with whom Ben seems to have a great friendship. He instantly becomes jealous, as he isn't able to spend much time with his son. Hence, he makes fun of Bill's red Speedo. As the family gathers at the 4th of July fireworks, Michael spends all of his time on the phone with his boss, which begins to annoy Michael's mother, Trudy. She complains that Michael will die early if he continues to overwork himself and eat junk food. As Michael is occupied on the phone, his father Ted entertains the kids with his quarter trick. Fascinated by the trick, Ben and Samantha ask their grandfather how he managed to make the coin reappear, but Ted responds that a magician never reveals his secrets. Ted further adds that even the big boy, Michael, hasn't been able to decode his secret. Later, at home, Kate Beckinsale comes downstairs wearing a Pocahontas costume that awakened adulthood in an entire generation of young teenagers. An argument erupts when Michael tells Donna to postpone the camping trip. He eventually calms her down and starts his project research by watching an Asian architecture documentary. However, he hurts himself when he accidentally mistakes Ben's helicopter remote for the TV remote. Tired of always mixing up the remotes, Michael heads out to the supermarket to buy a universal remote control. Michael enters the retail store, Bed Bath & Beyond. He looks everywhere for the remote, but doesn't find one. A tired Michael then collapses on a bed. When he turns around, he spots a section of the store called Beyond. When he gets inside to inspect, he is welcomed by a mysterious man named Morty. Michael begins to explain his situation to Morty, who then takes Michael to a large warehouse called Way Beyond. Morty then grabs a weird-looking remote and offers it to Michael for free. Morty tells Michael that the remote will program itself when he points and clicks the buttons. A confused Michael inquires why he is being given the remote for free. What's the catch? To which Morty responds that good guys need a break every once in a while. As Michael prepares to leave, he is also told that the item is non-refundable. After Michael reaches home, he continues watching the documentary and begins working on the project design. However, he is soon disturbed by his dog, Sundance. The poor dog wants a break outside, so he continues to bark. A furious Michael then points the remote at Sundance and presses the volume down button repeatedly, while shouting at the dog to remain silent for 5 minutes. Astonishingly, the dog becomes mute, but Michael dismisses it as he thinks he drank too much cough syrup and ate too many Twinkies and is experiencing a hallucination. After Michael takes Sundance out, he starts getting frustrated again, as the dog takes really long to find a spot to relieve himself. So he just points the remote at the dog again, while pressing fast forward. Just like the last time, the trick works, as the remote fast-tracks Sundance, who quickly finishes his work and gets back inside.
Okay.
Michael is astonished and finally believes in the power of the universal remote. He finds out that the remote can be used to control real life. The following day, Michael uses the remote to look into his past life. He gets emotional when he sees his little self play football with his friends at Lake Winnipesaukee.
Damn, that would be so OP.
Meanwhile, Morty gives Michael his phone number in case he has any questions about the remote. Michael uses the remote to fast forward through family dinner, arguments, and even intercourse. After
Wait, hold up. Wait, his number one complaint was that he works too much, and then he fast forwards everything except for work?
Fast forwarding the intercourse, Michael is surprised to learn that he climaxed very quickly and couldn't pleasure Donna like he normally used to. He also learns that he doesn't remember the conversations he had or commitments he made during the dinner. Michael calls Morty and demands an explanation for it. Morty says that during fast forward, his body is on autopilot. This means that he is going through the motions of everyday life, but his mind skips ahead. In this way, while Michael seems to live a normal life, he doesn't remember any of it. After this revelation, Michael uses the remote to fast forward through undesirable things, like sickness, cold showers, and traffic. He also presents the design he made on autopilot mode to the Japanese businessman Mr. Watsuhita. The meeting seems to be going great, but Michael's overexcited boss, John, unintentionally mocks Japan's iconic baseball players, mistaking their name for Asian dishes. This prompts Mr. Watsuhita to excuse himself and have a private conversation with his team. A nervous Michael tries to overhear Watsuhita's conversation, but can't understand any of it. So, he uses the remote to translate their conversation into English and turn up their volume. The trick works, and it reveals that the Japanese team disliked Michael's design, commenting that it must have been made after watching a bad documentary on Asian architecture.
They're not wrong.
They wanted more rooms to maximize their profits, and not a stupid river in the lobby. Mr. Watsuhita then orders his team to end the meeting, so they can go have jello shots at America's greatest cultural achievement, TGI Fridays. However, when Mr. Watsuhita approaches Michael to wrap up, Michael uses the overheard conversation to win over the businessman. He rips up his own failed design and offers to make a new one to incorporate more rooms to maximize profits. He also suggests they blow this joint and go to TGI Fridays for jello shots.
I mean, come on,
a
now they know
delighted
they
Mr.
heard them.
Watsuhita finally grants the contract to Michael's company. Later, at home, a super elated Michael buys gifts for his wife and children. When Donna inquires about the reason for Michael's joy, he reveals that John has promoted him to a partnership. Donna jumps in excitement. However, the excitement turns into disappointment the next day when Michael learns that he hasn't been promoted. As a matter of fact, he won't be promoted until he prepares the construction plan for the hotel and gets Mr. Watsuhita's commitment, which will take at least several months. Devastated by the news, Michael uses the remote to pause John and fart in his mouth.
It's pretty based.
Classic Adam Sandler. In the next scene, Michael plans on using the remote to fast forward to the time when he finishes the Watsuhita project. When he seeks Morty's advice, Morty reminds Michael about the leprechaun from a cereal advertisement. The leprechaun always chases a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, but when he finally gets there, he realizes it is just cornflakes. Michael doesn't understand the metaphor, but nevertheless suspends his plans to use the remote. At home, Michael is still frustrated over his promotion and takes it out on his children. The kids start crying when Michael makes fun of their plans to build houses out of pizza and pickles. He then has an argument with Donna.
Oh, shit.
Later, Michael realizes his mistake. He is annoyed by his actions, so he decides to use the remote again to skip ahead to his promotion, and he finds himself at his promotion party. He finds out that it took John a whole year to promote him. During this time, Donna and Michael's relations started to get strained, and they apparently entered marriage counseling. Ben and Samantha have matured and no longer watch the Dragon Tales cartoon. Now they watch CSI. He also learns that Sundance has passed away. Michael breaks down
dog.
and regrets not letting his late dog hump his leg. This confuses Donna, but she consoles him anyway. Michael promises Donna that he will change and become a better man for her. He pleads with her not to leave him. Michael and Donna make out, but the remote automatically fast-forwards to the end of the intercourse. Michael again finds an unsatisfied Donna lying next to him on the bed. He is puzzled by the remote automatically skipping time without him pressing any buttons. He then contacts Morty, who reveals that the remote is now using its memory to execute Michael's preferences. Just like Google, but way ahead of its time. Michael fast-forwarded through an entire year, and that accounted for a lot of intercourse skipped. Now, each time he tries having intercourse, or is involved in events like showering, driving through traffic, arguing, and being sick, the remote is going to fast-forward on its own. Hearing this, Michael regrets having ever used the remote, and returns the remote to Morty, but it automatically reappears in his hand. He then makes several attempts to discard and destroy the remote, but it reappears each time.
Can't even smash.
The next day, Michael goes to the office on a bicycle without showering, so that he can avoid the time being automatically fast-forwarded. There, John tells him about his plans to retire and travel to Morocco. John's retirement would make Michael the new head of the international division at the firm. While Michael is stunned by his promotion to such a high post, John exclaims that every account Michael has worked on has turned to gold. John also comments that he wouldn't be surprised if one day Michael ended up being their company's CEO. Suddenly, Michael is fast-forwarded 10 years into the future, where he has become the CEO and is very wealthy, but also morbidly obese. He quickly returns home to find that Ben and Samantha are grown-up teenagers. Ben has become an obese guy, much like himself, while Samantha has started dating someone. He also learns that Donna has divorced him and is dating Ben's swimming teacher,
Of course.
Bill. Enraged by their relationship, Michael attacks Bill. An argument ensues, and the family dog jumps on Michael, causing him to knock his head on the wall and fall unconscious. After 6 long years, Michael finally regains consciousness. Donna is there by his side, who reveals that after he went into a coma, a CAT scan found cancer in his body, so he had to undergo treatment for years. After beating cancer, he had a heart attack too. However, Michael is no longer fat as a result of having undergone liposuction in order to save his life. Later, at the firm, Michael meets an adult Ben, who has surprisingly lost a lot of weight, working out with Donna's husband, Bill. Michael offers to take Ben, Samantha, and their grandparents out for an ice cream, but Ben reveals that Grandpa Ted has already died. This devastates Michael, who breaks into tears and visits Ted's grave. Michael then uses the remote to re-experience the time when he last saw his dad. He sees that Ted dropped by his office and offered to take Ben and him out for dinner, but an autopilot Michael rejected the offer without even looking at the old man. Ted continued to insist and offered to show Michael his favorite childhood quarter trick, but an agitated Michael yelled at his father while revealing that he had always known the secret to the trick. The poor old man then apologizes and leaves with tears in his eyes. Michael is filled with shame and guilt. Morty then appears and apologizes for taking his father away, admitting that he is the angel of death. The revelation makes Michael angry and he attacks Morty. However, Morty disappears into thin air and reappears behind him.
Literally dissimulated.
Michael asks the remote to take him to a good place, whereupon the remote fast-forwards him several more years into the future to Ben's wedding. At the wedding, Michael is elated to see his mother and gives her a long kiss. He also meets an all-grown-up Samantha. Donna offers to dance with Michael when their old song comes on, and things cheer up a little, but then Michael hears Samantha call Bill Dad and suffers from a heart attack, unable to bear the pain of being replaced, even as a father. He wakes up in the hospital that night, with Ben and Samantha by his side. Before Ben and Samantha are escorted out by the nurse, Michael finds out that Ben is skipping his honeymoon because of a business deal. Fearing that Ben might make the same mistakes he did, Michael gathers the last of his strength to follow them out of the hospital. However, his body gives out and he collapses onto the ground with his family all around him. In a very low voice, he suggests Ben always put family first and apologizes to Samantha for not being there for her. Michael then tells Donna that he will always love her and passes away. Suddenly, Michael reawakens in Bed Bath & Beyond. He is overcome with joy when he learns that everything was just a dream. Outside, he is amazed to see his crappy, mediocre, middle-class car. After he reaches home, he embraces his family and promises to spend more time with them. Just then, he finds the remote on the counter, along with a note from Morty, which says that he has been given a second chance, as good guys need a break. Morty also hopes that Michael will do the right thing this time. The movie ends as Michael throws the remote in the trash, and is delighted, as this time it does not reappear. Despite being wrapped in a dated package of Adam Sandler's trademark toilet humor, and jokes that would get writers canceled these days, Click is a
It's a good movie. It's actually a good
with
movie.
A beautiful message.
I do kind of almost wish he didn't get another chance. I mean, that would be a very despair ending for an Adam Sandler movie.
Reminds us that the most important moments in life lie in between the moments we all feel that we're waiting for.
All right.
Hi.
Let's do one more, chat. They humans need 100 liters of water to the pandemic.
Hi.
That's a pretty good movie, though. It's one of the better ones we've watched, even. It's not that bad. I think people would have said, if let's say this movie didn't have Adam Sandler and fart jokes, and it had like a serious actor, I think people would have said this movie is really good and serious. You know?
Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain a South Korean film called Deranged. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care.
Korean movies.
Dr. Jae-hyuk is a former professor of biochemistry from Seoul and a father of 2. He lost his life savings and job due to a bad investment he made in the stock market on the advice of his detective younger brother, Jae-pil. Jae-pil regrets squandering Jae-hyuk's money in the stock market and has apologized to him many times, but Jae-hyuk refuses to accept his apology and wants nothing to do with him. Jae-hyuk currently works as a pharmaceutical sales representative for Choa Pharmaceuticals, which involves doing a lot of menial tasks, like taking his boss James Kim's family on trips. Seeing Jae-hyuk overworked and stressed all the time, his wife has offered to pick up a job to help him support the family on many occasions, but his pride doesn't allow him to make his wife work. Remorseful,
who cares? Let your wife work.
Continues to look for ways to pay his brother back. He notices strange stock activity of Choa Pharmaceuticals and tries to warn Jae-hyuk about it, but the latter doesn't want to take any more advice from his brother. Choa Pharmaceuticals has been bought by a foreign-based firm called Bronstar, which has shut down its R&D department to cut costs.
No wonder it's shut down. They're called
Bronstar. His biochemist girlfriend and Jae-hyuk's friend Yeonju's help to pay his brother back, but she refuses to get screwed over like Jae-hyuk. One night, Jae-hyuk finds his wife and children eating in the middle of the night, but he doesn't think much of it and goes to sleep. The next morning, an unrelated couple discovers a dead body of a woman floating in the Han River and alerts the police. The couple are traumatized by the discovery, as the dead body is in a state of cachexia, i.e., reduced to skin and bones. This puzzles the investigators, as reducing someone to their skin and bones takes time, and the woman was with her family last night and went to bed with her husband before she was found missing in the morning. The police find several more dead bodies in similar condition in different bodies of water throughout Seoul, sending the media and public into a frenzy. Jae-pil is ordered to go to the Gangwon province, which shares borders with North Korea, to investigate similar cases. Meanwhile, Jae-hyuk could care less and goes to his scheduled golf trip with his boss, Kim. At the golf course, Kim keeps gulping down bottle after bottle of water. Jae-hyuk and his coworkers do not think much of it until Kim makes a run for the pond and jumps into it, almost as if some invisible force was making him do it. Jae-hyuk tries to save him, but without success, and just like the other bodies, it doesn't take long for Kim's body to be reduced to skin and bones. After his boss's tragic death, Jae-hyuk returns home late to find his family guzzling water in a similar manner. By the next day, several more bodies pile up throughout the country, finally attracting the Korean government's attention. The authorities have a hard time understanding the cause of sudden death, because the victims do not show any physical symptoms, but look gruesome as soon as they jump into the water. At one home, the authorities find a victim dead in his bathtub, with unidentifiable worm-like organisms swimming next to his dead body. The officials at the Ministry of Health examine the organisms and determine that they are parasitic horsehair worms that normally use insects as hosts. These worms seem to have mutated into a new form that allows them to infect human bodies. It is learned that the sudden change in appearance of victims after jumping into water bodies was caused by the parasites abandoning the host bodies for the water. These worms can
Oh, okay.
control the human brain, and hence the infected show symptoms of increased hunger without appropriate weight gain. When the worms are mature and ready to reproduce, the infected people experience excessive thirst, and hence they jump into the river, which allows the worms to come out of their bodies and procreate. As the scientists look for a cure, the government deploys a police force throughout Korea to prevent the infected from jumping into water bodies. The government also urges people who have been in or near water and who show symptoms of hunger and thirst to rush to the nearest hospital. This results in countless people rushing to buy toilet paper,
go to the hospital.
to hospitals. After learning about these developments at work, Jae-hyuk panics and rushes home as his family showed the symptoms of the disease. A team of scientists and doctors study the organism and ascertain that it is impossible to physically extract it from the host bodies, as it fuses itself to the inner walls of the small intestine, pretending to be part of it in order to draw nutrients from the host. Since physical extraction of the organism is not feasible, scientists speculate that the organism could not be killed by anthelmintic drugs, i.e., drugs used to treat infections of animals with parasitic worms. The scientists set up a patient group to experiment the effect of anthelmintic drugs on the organism. Yeonju raises ethical concerns, but her superiors could care less, as they are under intense pressure to find the cure. Word gets out about the anthelmintic drugs, and people crowd pharmacies to get it. Matters become worse, and it is discovered that using any type of anthelmintic actually causes more excruciating pain and eventual death. The government immediately releases a statement advising citizens against using anthelmintic drugs to treat the disease. In a Gangwon village, Jae-pil finds the village's chief crying at a local hospital, blaming himself for the epidemic. When Jae-pil asks him to explain himself, the chief reveals that in the spring, he saw some strangers releasing their dogs in the stream. He didn't think much of it at the time, as he thought the strangers were trying to get rid of their sick dogs. The village was days away from the tourist season, and the chief didn't want to jeopardize the year's income, so he didn't inform the authorities, and collected the dogs' corpses and buried them in the mountain himself. The holiday season arrived, and the tourists flocked to the village, but nothing happened. Some months passed by, and the bodies started to be discovered by the stream. Jae-pil also learns about his brother's family, but is not able to be by their side at the hospital because of his work duty. More deaths later, a patient reveals that he was cured by a specific type of drug called Windazole he took at home. Clinical tests also confirm the necrosis of the mutant horsehair worm. The word spreads like wildfire, and the country goes insane in order to get a hold of the drug. It is revealed that only Choa Pharmaceuticals, the company Jae-hyuk works for, manufactures the drug.
That's good.
However, the company stopped the production of the drug last October due to poor sales. Pharmacies run out of supply within hours. Government officials contact the pharmaceutical company and demand that they increase supply. However, ever since being acquired by the foreign investment company, the machines involved in creating the drug were poorly managed, and the company fails to manufacture a single pill. The company's CEO is brought for public hearing, and the government requests the company to reveal the drug's composition. But the CEO says that the company's major foreign stockholders have refused to do so, and the government has no legal grounds to force the company to disclose the drug's recipe either.
Killed them.
The country's prime minister offers the company a generous amount to disclose the drug's composition. He gives the company a few hours to accept the offer, and threatens them with a scrupulous audit should they not accept the
capitalism.
offer.
What is
As
this?
the company mulls over the government's offer, people become desperate to get their hands on the drug. Jae-hyuk uses his contacts at the Choa Pharma to get a hold of the last remaining batch of the drug. However, the last remaining pills are taken away from him when a crowd of people outside the company spot him with the scarce drug. Jae-hyuk is devastated, and his co-worker comforts him. Jae-hyuk's co-worker reveals that Choa Pharma released 100,000 boxes of the drug into the market before its production was discontinued, with each box containing 4 doses. Jae-hyuk finds it hard to believe that the market ran out of 400,000 doses within hours of the announcement. His co-worker speculates that maybe the drugs were never released on the market. Meanwhile, Jae-pil again starts looking into Choa's shady stock activity. He learns that a few individuals with no address anonymously bought all of the stocks of the company some months back, when the company was not even making any profit. At the public hearing, Choa's CEO rejects the PM's offer, putting forth a counteroffer. He asks the government to buy the entire company for a whopping 5 billion won. This would make the drug's composition a government property, and as its owner, the government can disclose it to the public, which would allow other pharmaceuticals to make more of it for the rapidly increasing number of patients. The price is unreasonable, and most government officials are against the idea, but the PM is under intense pressure to deliver the cure to the people, as scientists have learned that the infected people will die within a day, even without jumping into water, if they don't get the cure. Upon further investigation, Jai-Pil finds one of the individuals who bought the stock of the company. The man is revealed to be an ex-researcher of Choa Pharma. Jai-Pil forces the man to tell the truth, and he reveals that the entire health crisis was planned and orchestrated by disgruntled former researchers at Choa Pharmaceuticals. Some years ago, the scientists at the pharma company learned about the parasite Gorgc. Hoping to find a cure to other brain diseases such as Alzheimer's, the researchers began looking into the Gorgc parasite's protein that controls the brain. After succeeding in creating a mutant version of the horsehair parasite that used mammals as hosts, the team were set to begin their research on finding the cure of Alzheimer's when the company was suddenly sold over and new owners fired the research team. Upset and angry, some of the researchers joined forces and planned the entire crisis. They bought the stock of the company and released the parasite after storing away 100,000 packets of the drug. Because of this, hundreds of thousands of people became infected over the summer as they went to rivers for vacation. One of the scientists then acted as if he had been treated by the drug in order to raise stock prices. After learning about this, Jai-Pil immediately calls his brother, and the two go to the storage where the researchers had hidden the rest of the drugs. The two brothers manage to get hold of the drugs, but someone locks them inside the building and sets it on fire. The two manage to survive, but all the drugs burn down with the building, and the researcher who told them about the building is murdered by a mysterious man. Jai-Hyuk refuses to give up, and he decides to make the drug with his knowledge of chemistry. As long as he is able to create a drug with the same active ingredient as Windazole, he should be able to treat his family without the Windazole. Yeonju ropes in other pharma companies in his plans. Meanwhile, Jai-Pil's colleagues continue looking into the shady pharma company and find out that the murdered researcher was actually the head of the research team and a close friend of the CEO. The other researchers have already fled the country, and the murdered team leader was also supposed to flee after getting rid of the drugs in the warehouse. The entire crisis was premeditated and planned by the pharma's CEO and the researchers from the beginning. Unbeknownst to all of this, the Prime Minister accepts the CEO's offer to buy the company. However, as the PM is about to sign the paper, he is informed about the entire plot, and the CEO is arrested. Jai-Hyuk and other pharmaceutical companies join forces to hastily create an effective drug and treat everyone. Some months pass by. Jai-Hyuk and his family are spending time at an amusement park, joking about vacationing abroad and the Gorgc worm. Jai-Hyuk suddenly freezes and turns around as the movie ends with a scene of a dead body floating in New York Harbor. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.
That was the ending?
Thank you for watching.
But there's a cure now, so it shouldn't be an issue. Unless those scientists are doing more like that. It's spreading. I think they made a new one, maybe, I was thinking. The Plandemic Monka. They know the cure now though, but maybe they made a new one. More stock prices, easy clap. I hope people don't actually do this, it's kinda fucked up. I feel like if people actually did this, people would, I mean, there's no way you would like, fucking, yeah, give you $5 billion. You'd just fucking kill them, you know? Kill the CEOs and take the cure, right? I don't fucking know. No way they could just extort the government, like what the fuck? No fucking shot, dude. Easy stonks? Maybe. Maybe I'm wrong. Kill the rich, yeah. Alright, one more. Nah, I'm pretty much done for today, boys. I'm done for today. That was a little bit weird though today, but hey, we 3 and 3. Pretty fun movies. I am donezo for tonight though. Hope you guys had fun. I'll be back tomorrow again, I think. I'm gonna take a day off soon to fix my schedule, by the way. I just don't know when. But yeah, I'll be back soon. Soon-ish. Alright. Good night, boys. I love you guys. Take it easy, boys. Bye-bye. See you guys tomorrow. Maybe. Probably tomorrow, yeah. I don't know, I need a day off soon to fix my schedule though. I can't wake up this late. Damn.